Digest. Yeah. I think aside from the targeting, the other video that went viral from that game against Texas was that big Sam Leavitt run and you being on the sidelines, cheering him out. A lot of people said that at that moment Jake Plummer saw Sam Leavitt as a young Jake Plummer. I'm just curious. How did you feel about Sam's performance? And do you see all those parallels that fans do like to talk about?
Yeah, I don't really like comparisons. If you've known me for many years, trying to compare a player to somebody else makes no sense to me. As when I came out, was compared to some legends and some pretty big, amazing players. I always just wanted to be myself, and I see that in Sam, that he, regardless of everybody wanting to say this or that about what he does on the field, for me, it's just it's heartwarming and makes me feel good to know there's a leader there that's doing the things that you need to have that guy do. As QB number one, all eyes are on you, and whether you want it or not, and however you carry yourself is your choice. But I see the things that are inherent in a guy that's a natural leader and plays with his heart and soul and isn't worried about what his hair looks like when he takes his helmet off. He's ready to go yell at somebody if they didn't do their job. And he's also ready to go celebrate a nice drive and a touchdown. And so playing without, any guardrails, he's out there just flying around, leading with passion is really, if there's a comparison to be made, is that I didn't have any plan in place. I just went out and played with my heart and soul. And I saw that from him this year. I saw that from him in spring practice, which was really encouraging to hear Kenny say, hey, this kid's got something watching this year. So I started paying attention, because when you can do it on the field, that's great. But when you do it on the practice field, and when you do it in the locker room, and when you do it in these hallways, and you bring that passion and that desire and that overreaching, attitude of, hey, I am Sam Leavitt. I'm the quarterback, QB number one, but I'm also here with you, and I'm part of this whole organization, not just a single guy out there getting all the attention. That's what I like to see, and that's what I've heard. I haven't been around in these buildings enough to watch that and see that in person, but I've got some pretty trusted allies around here that fill me in when I have questions. And from what I'm hearing, that's a good thing. And you can't go out without somebody setting that tone. You can't have a successful organization or a successful team. I'm saying organization, program. You can't have a successful program without that person, at least a few of them. And most important is having that quarterback that can do that. What he's done already, though, is he's a freshman. I didn't have that year, my freshman year. I came out and played hard, and we almost made a bowl game, and I became the leader just through my actions and my passion. But what he did as a freshman was very impressive, to watch him go out and just to lead, miss only one game, but be out there and show his toughness and leadership, and bring the guys around him with him. So it's exciting to see what's next. All the talk and all the stuff everybody's saying is like, whatever. I know I have a feeling he's just going to work and getting ready to go have even a better year next year.
Chris Carbon, Sundevils. Jake, when you were around the team last year, were there things that were reminiscent at all of 1996 or just playing for Bruce? The comparisons between how different or similar in whatever ways the staffs were, or the leadership, as you mentioned, Sam, or anything else?
I wasn't around enough to be able to draw any comparisons. We put in, with the group of guys we had, we didn't have anybody leaving in the portal. We had a few guys who maybe didn't remain eligible academically that we lost, but there was a core group of guys that we knew that were getting after it. And so for us, it was a 4-year process to get to that year in '96 that we had. We had a couple really rough years, losing to U of A the last game when we were bowl eligible possibly, and then a 3-8 season my sophomore year. So you throw that 3-8 season out this year or next year, and there's going to be people gone you'll never see again. But I was able to stay here because it was a different landscape. People weren't leaving, guys weren't transferring, they weren't second string and mad and going to USC or Oregon or leaving. We had to commit to being here together. So that's what's been impressive to see Kenny do here, is to build that camaraderie, that commitment, that ability to stick together and see a bigger picture than just oh, where's the pasture greener and where's there more money. It's more like, let's make a mark like people will never forget. And I have to go back to going to Atlanta to the Peach Bowl and the outpouring of love I received from so many people, not even people that were my age and that were older, but even younger that maybe weren't even alive when we played, that still were like, oh, I've heard so much about you and that team and what you mean to my dad or my mom and my family. And so if these players here today can understand that they may not realize that what they just accomplished last year will be something talked about for so long, because ASU hasn't been that perennial powerhouse that does it every single year or every other year. This last season will be remembered for what they accomplished and how they kind of set this valley back on fire and got people to believe again. And then you bring them, most of that group back, minus a couple key players. You know, that's going to be fun to see how this goes. If they can keep winning and stay there, and I believe they will. There's no reason why they shouldn't. And that's the exciting part, to see what happens. You know, for us, like I said, the comparisons are that we did get a chance to play for a national title. They were getting closer to play for a national title. So that implication just alone makes them similar, because there hasn't been another time, but you know, since we played in '96 that we were in that conversation. So that's good to taste that and feel that. You know, had we had a chance to come back and play together again after '96, you know, who knows what happens. But these guys do. They get a chance to fix what they know they need to work on and get better at, and have that, oh man, they tasted it. They want it. They want to go back and get there, and that makes them hungry. So it's going to be exciting to see how this offseason goes. And then again, you know, the season, I think as fans we want to see the same thing, but let's be just supportive in whatever they put forth, knowing that the plan is to be in the conversation every year. And the fans now, their job is to keep, you know, being here for them, supporting that in whatever way they can.
Hi, Jake. On that note, I had a conversation with one of your former teammates a couple years ago, and we were talking about something related to the Rose Bowl year. And at the end of the conversation, he said, Doug, obviously it's tremendous. It's incredible to be remembered in this way. He said, but it's time for a new Arizona State team to emerge and create those memories. Was there ever a time that you kind of felt like, you know, not that you didn't want the appreciation and the recognition for what you've done, but you were ready, like, okay, what we did happened a long time ago. It's time for a new team, a new time in Arizona State football.
Yeah, I mean, I think as you guys know, I'm going to be seen and remembered and recognized forever. A lot of the guys on my team in '96 that were a huge part of that I couldn't have done it without them. They may walk around and not be seen or recognized, and so for them, I'm always trying to represent them whenever I do anything. I try to make sure people know that, you know, without them, I was just another guy, another player. But yeah, of course, as a player at this program and as a Sundevil, is really the only team I really look to and root for in my pro career. You know, I'm the Cardinals, the Broncos. If they win, great. If they lose, you know, I'm not going to be upset. But I'd really like to see Arizona State do well. And they've had moments since we were, you know, in '96. But it's been a long time since they were really in that conversation and at the top of the rankings. And you know, what a time to have a year like this. Really, what an opportune moment. And as I hear Coach Regal speak and Kenny, you know, like, their dream was set a long time ago. And it reminds me of even just my path and my journey. Like, my dream was to go play in the NFL. And I knew along the way a lot of things had to happen. And one of them was to have success at a college level, collegiate level. And I did that. And so when you have some strong belief that you really want and you desire and you put all your effort and energy into, and then you get other people that can come together with that and feel that same energy and belief, then something special can happen. And it's taken a while, but I feel like we got the right person leading this, and he's also surrounding himself with the right kind of coaches. That now it's not, you know, I think his first year here, he may not have had the guys around him as a coaching staff as well as we have now. He's some great coaches on this staff. And you look back at the staff we had in '96, I got coached as a quarterback by 2 NFL head coaches, Bobby Petrino and Hugh Jackson. And you have to admit that Bruce Snyder was the guy running the puppeteer, the marionette up there, like doing his thing with all these pieces. And kudos to him and his vision to bring all of us together. But he was only the head coach. There were some phenomenal coaches on that staff that were teaching us as young men how to first be quality young men, but also how to play the game of football. And I'm seeing that happen here. Kenny is one key component, as your quarterback is one key component, but you got to have the surrounding parts around him that are also bringing that energy, bringing that belief, having no doubt. There was a time in my senior year, we kicked the coaches out of the room before Nebraska because we as players felt like they didn't think we could win the game. And no shot to them, but it was just, hey, let's get everybody out of this room that doesn't believe, because I'm sick of hearing anything about Nebraska. This is about us. And we had a team meeting that really turned the tide for our guys. And I feel that, in this building, if it's not 100% belief, then you find those people and you hopefully can get them out of here, or they go enter the portal. Get out of here if you don't want to be here. And I mean, if I was a quarterback now, I would know who those guys are and be like, yo, you got to go to the portal, bro. Get out of here. It's time you go see some other team, because I don't want you around if you aren't going to be as committed as I am. And my sophomore year, it was tough. I actually questioned whether I wanted to play anymore. Yet, my mothers, of course, have the wisdom that young men need. He said, just keep working hard. Jake, just keep going out there and doing your thing. And she was right. So yeah, it's time, it's time. This valley is ready, and hopefully, like I said, it's now on the fans to not expect them to be in the top 4 again next year, but enjoy this process. Have fun being a fan again and watching this team go out and entertain you.
Michelle Gardner, Arizona.
Yep.
Jake, can you talk about the first time you met Kenny, and what did you think when you met this guy? Did you think, okay, this guy's got the it factor?
It's funny because I met him at the AFCA convention, and I want to say maybe it was in Nashville at the time. But I think he was on Norvell's staff at Florida State, if I'm correct. And I remember bumping into him, and because all of a sudden, Norvell was here, and I could call him and text him, and then he became that Florida State coach, and he wouldn't return my calls or texts. But I bumped into Kenny, and I think he was just a GA, or an assistant, and we were at the time working on a program, a teaching tool technology that's still in effect, and we're going to be ready to roll that out next year. That's a learning tool for the game. And so I went to him and said, hey man, I need you to get this to Norvell, or check this out. And I remember meeting him and just going, wow, he's just a young kid. Like he was in his teen years. I think he was only 19 at the time, maybe 20. And as time went, I watched him progress rapidly up the ladder. And I don't know exactly how my first impression was of him, other than that I saw this, eager. He was eager to hear it and learn it, and he says, "Yeah, I'll get you to Norvell." Whenever I reached out to him, he would get back to me, and so I think that's what you got to find quality people. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there. Kenny won't text me back now. He's the head coach at ASU. Well, yeah, he's busy. He's real busy. So when he doesn't text me back now, I don't care, because I know that's a good sign. He's working. He's doing his thing. But yeah, that fire, that little light in his eye was there when I first met him, and it's still there now. And that's really the thing that a program needs, is that guy that's leading the charge. And I love that he's been consistent about his message, that this place means something to him, and his passion shows in the way he coaches, the way he reacts to bad calls, the way he reacts to the fans charging onto the field, the way I get to see him react in the hallway after the game with his family. He's the real deal. He's in it. He's here. He's up 2 feet on the ground and loving what he's doing. And that's, as a former player, and I know my teammates and everybody we gathered last night downtown at the Pedal House with about 15 guys from that team I played on in '96, my good buddies. We're all excited again. Not that we lost that excitement, but we definitely have something now that is tangible, and we see it and we can feel it.
Up front, Michael.
Jake, Michael Carrington, no pitch for When you talk about obviously teams coming together the way you guys came together your senior year and this year, obviously every week it's like, oh, ASU won, but there's always a but. What did you think of the playoff and just the playoffs in general for them, but also just kind of, I mean, you got to hear a lot of the outside and say, oh, well, ASU, that's a nice story, but can they really compete? How do you feel that fired them up, and just what do you think of the playoffs in general?
Yeah, I was really excited to see the playoffs, and like I said, what an opportune time for not only ASU but my hometown Boise State, the Broncos. Here you go, you got this playoff that we were all hoping it would be full of. You know, where was the Michigan? Where was Tennessee? Where was some of these programs that are the way where football was invented and where football is only played at these places? And here we got ASU and BSU sitting there with buys into the first. With the first round bye, and so I love it. It gives teams a chance to catch fire, to win, and to get an opportunity to go see if they can hang with the big boys. And we did. We went round for round with Texas. Very well should have had an opportunity or a couple things go our way to win that game. Win or lose, though, it proved that hey, you can do it. And whether the fans need to hear that or if the media needs to see that, it's the players that now believe that hey, okay, we really actually kind of dominated that team, and we should have won. It stings. It's nasty taste in our mouth. Let's go back and make sure what we can do, what we can build upon, who we can bring in to fill some roles, so that if we get this opportunity again, maybe it's against Notre Dame, and you see ASU take it to Notre Dame. Win or lose, if you compete, that's what we want. Winning, obviously, is the main motivation, but being able to see a team like ASU out there, my alma mater, and represent well and compete was awesome. Again, seeing BSU, even against Penn State, get a couple calls that don't go against them, and they're right in that game. And it's like the narrative is set. And I'm not a narrative guy, if you guys remember me much. It's like, screw the narrative. Like, there's no such thing. And I think that when these things happen where ASU gets to now be, for the rest of time, for the rest of history, that first bracket for the first ever college football playoff, there's the pitchforks there. And you can't take that away. So what an opportune time. Great for recruiting, great for getting some guys to come here and see what's building, what's happening. And no one talks about it, but I do, and I'm going to continue to, and hopefully we can start a little fire. You get to play on grass. You get to play on the best surface that there is in the entire United States. Find me a better playing field than this field here at ASU, and I'll come over there and shake your hand, because that is, you get to play on natural grass, on it with great weather and a fan base that, yeah, you got to win to get them to come out. But when you win, they come out, and that's time to go and have some fun. So let's not forget, you can go play on that hard turf surface and that fake grass and all that in these other big schools. But you want to play on real grass, get grass stains on your jersey, and feel what it's like when you were a kid playing football out at the park. That's ASU. You get to play on the real deal. And so, yeah, it's exciting. I'm really looking forward to see what they do. Obviously, the work has to be done by the players, and they made some good moves. And again, we get our signal caller back, and Sam with the year under his belt, and it's going to be fun to see how he handles this offseason, because guys are going to look to him for leadership. When you lose Stat, he's going to be a lot more focus put on him, but it's time for some other guys to step up.
Mark?
Hey, Jake, Mark McClure, his family gets
So,
His pickleball replaced handball now as your official sport. How does the competitive fire compare to playing quarterback in your event that's coming up?
Yeah, pickleball has become something I love to do. Handball is still a love of mine. It's just a little harder on the body. I can play handball, but I got to train to play handball and work out. I don't like working out. I like playing in. And, the whole thought of going and trying to do something with no result, or anything just doesn't sit well with me. So playing pickleball is my chance to go out and be active. It really came into my life about 7 years ago when I was not being active, and I went and played at the rec center in Boulder and was playing against 60, 70-year-old women, got my ass kicked. And the next day I could hardly walk. And I'm like, wait a sec, these ladies that are in their 70s are out here doing this, and now I can hardly walk. Okay, you better start moving, get back to action, get back to being mobile. And so it got me back on track for my own health and wellness. And now it's just a chance for me to go out. I'm not super competitive anymore. I mean, I love to, like I said, I like to play. If I can play and laugh and have fun and lose 11-9 or 11-2, I don't care. As long as I'm representing myself well and playing. And it's a great community. There's great camaraderie, similar to handball, which when I played handball was really a great workout, a great time to sweat, to get around the guys, to have fun. And now with pickleball, it's kind of the same thing. It's definitely a good group of people, and I'm trying to get more guys to play it because I just turned 50 in December, and I know a lot of the guys I played with, when I watch them move around, they're stiff, they're sore. The option is you can be stiff and sore and do nothing and complain about it, or you can come play pickleball or go on a walk or get on your bike and be stiff and sore because you did something. And you get to choose as we get older. And if you don't make that right choice now, it goes downhill fast. So trying to encourage guys to get after it, get back to being active and moving again. And pickleball is one way that I've been doing it. And I don't play like those 7-year-old ladies though. I still move around and go get the ball back and charge the net and have fun. And that's so we're having an event here. It's a good time to speak about it in April. The Jake Plummer Pickleball Bash. We're running it down at the Pickler and down on Warner, and Proton Sports is a paddle company here local. The owner Charles is the owner of the Phoenix Flames and the pickleball pro team here. So yeah, trying to just have a fun time. As you remember, my bowling tournament was about fun, raising money for a good cause. That's what we're doing with this, getting some celebs out there to play with whoever wants to pay to play with them and raise some money for a good cause, a good sport foundation that uses pickleball to service the underserved in populations and teach young kids how to play and to spread the game and really to spread health and wellness and activity and movement.
A couple more, Jake.
Hey Jake, whether it's from trusted allies or from fans around the community, how have you just seen everybody in the city of Tempe and surrounding cities just continue to support this team, and how important is that for the players on the field in this entire program?
Yeah, it's really important, especially in today's day and age where players are getting paid. The whole key now is to keep these guys here. And so, one, it's definitely the fans. Having a packed stadium is important. As a player, you want that. I played in that stadium a few times where there wasn't that many people in it. Not much at ASU. We had pretty good fans coming, and it was much bigger back then. So if there was 50,000, it still looked like, well, where's the fans? We still put them in there. But with the Cardinals, there were some days where there was a lot of seats that were empty. So as a player, you want to see the fans come out. That's the most important thing. Keep supporting these guys. Keep showing up. Keep coming to the games. It's a fun stadium. It's a beautiful stadium. One of the best in the country, if not the best. And now, though, the support can reach into people's pockets too. Like whatever you can give, know that it's going to pay these young men who are sacrificing their bodies and their time and their brains and all of that to put out an entertaining game onto the field. Whether you think football is relevant or not, it is. In an institution like Arizona State, it's what drives, as Kenny was saying, the right hand, the left hand, the foot. When the football team does well, all the sports can thrive and build off of that. And like I mentioned earlier, the outpouring of love and the memories that were thrown at me and the adoration and respect that I got out in Atlanta at the Peach Bowl. This town is waiting and ready and hungry for this, and we saw that. We saw them. It's going to be live that first game next year, and the whole thing is to keep that fire going. How do we keep that fire going? Because the fans too also can dissipate quickly if they don't get what they expect. But know that there's a process here, and there's part of this process is the fans being true supporters of the Sundevils. And I think a lot of people end up living here that go to school here, so I don't think it's a hard thing to pack that stadium with Sundevils. And the Valley is ready, and I've seen a lot more Sundevil gear. I guess I could say when I fly around, not just coming down to Phoenix, flying around the country, you see more people wearing Sundevil sweatshirts and hats, and that's a sign of really the football team doing well again, and now the other sports are also picking it up. Basketball is competitive, baseball is doing really well, the hockey team is doing well. We got a good thing going here, and we got another one of our own, Graham Rossini, that's leading the athletic as the new AD, leading that charge. So I like the way this thing's going. I got some couple teammates that are in the building coaching, and that brings all the guys back. And I believe that these programs are understanding the importance of your alumni and the past players that helped build this thing to what it is today, or that played a part in that process. It's important to bring them back and appreciate them. And I think that's what, Kenny has an open door policy. A lot of guys don't believe it. I tell them, get your bus down there. Go down there and see. Go down and feel it. You don't just sit in your house and say, Go down there and feel it. Go down and feel what Kenny's going to give you when you go see him. And then you don't have to doubt it. You don't have to wonder. You'll feel it, and you'll want to be a part of this again.
Quick follow-up. What does it mean to you personally to see Pat Tillman's legacy continue to grow with stuff like Pat's run and the Leadership Council?
Yeah, it's amazing. The work that everybody's put in, starting, with Perry and Doug and, all the guys that have continued to lend their time and efforts to grow the foundation into what it is. My heart always still goes out to that family as they've dealt with a tremendous loss, as I still feel it from just my time with Pat. I can't imagine what his mother still goes through daily to deal with, the fact that he's not around. I wonder what he'd be up to. That's the hard part for me, is like just to be able to bounce what I'm up to off of him and hear him, either dive in and question me deeper than I could be questioned to make sure that I knew what I was talking about, to also wonder what he would be up to. But it's nice to know that there's other people inspired by his legacy that are doing things in inspired by him and what he stood for. And they're things that are changing the world, and they're making the world a better place. So what the Pat Tillman Foundation is doing is tremendous. And Pat's run, being here last year and being there with my team and shooting the gun, was amazing. To run it again was super fun, even though my ankle was not feeling good afterwards. I took care of that, though, as inspiration for what Pat stood for, is to not talk and to go out and to act. So when I get to speak about Pat, it always reminds me to take stock of how much I'm talking and how much I'm actually doing. And so I think that's the main thing here with a lot of people, is get out and go do the run. And that could be the stepping stone or the step to doing other great things. And the foundation keeps growing and keeps doing a lot of awesome things, and I'm a huge supporter of that. And I always sending my love out to the family, the brothers, the mom, the dad, and all the real tight friends of Pat's, because it's still hard for them to miss their brother and their friend.
Pass it over to Chris. Thanks.
Jake, thanks a lot for your time. You mentioned the early kind of struggles in '94 team at ASU, and Sam Leavitt being so new and accomplishing what he did. He only threw 6 interceptions in 13 games. The game's changed a lot from when you played, but how impressive is that, and what goes into being able to avoid those bad jeopardy throws when you're so young?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing number, 6, because he did not shy away from pulling the trigger many times where it could have easily been an interception. And that's what I like to see. I was actually talking to some of my teammates last night about, the fact that I'd get yelled at for throwing an interception, and the coach would say, "What were you thinking? What were you doing?" And I'd just say, "I'm trying to make a play, coach. That's what I'm here to do. I'm trying to make plays for you." And that's what you see from him, is he's a scrapper. He's tough, and he's really quick. And what that can give him is that extra little bit of time in the pocket or escaping the pocket to make plays, either running the ball or throwing it downfield. They're going to catch on to that. So it's going to be imperative for him to be even better with the ball and more. It's not conservative. I don't like a conservative quarterback. I don't want to see a guy check it down and throw it out of bounds. I want to see him rip it down the field when he gets out of the pocket. And there was even a few times I'm like, "Oh, don't throw it out of bounds. You got to, give him a chance, and that's when you find out more about your teammates. Because I never shied away from giving Keith Poole a chance down the field if there was one guy, sometimes two guys on him. Why? Because I trusted that Keith would come down with it or keep the other team from coming down with it. And that's that rapport and that relationship you build with the guys around you. Let's not forget our number one receiver was not there during this whole run too, and so that he's coming back is really exciting. But replacing a player like Stat is going to be very hard, as he was just, you don't see that very often ever in the whole game of football. Name another player around the country that had that much excitement and buzz around. I didn't see, but maybe a few other guys that were worthy of turning the TV on every day and watching him play. And he'll be missed, but that leaves that spot open for someone else to come in and embody what he stood for as a tone setter. Again, a guy who I saw a couple years ago in practice, and I was like, who's this kid? Somebody tell me what this guy's name is. And then I had to ask again, what was his name again? Got a what? But then, watching him just in practice, in spring ball, and his effort and his desire and his toughness and he took every rep on special teams. All the running backs were injured. He took every rep at running back. He kept running all the way downfield, sprinting back. I could see that he was tired, just like the third quarter of the Peach Bowl when he was ready to be carted. Like, he couldn't get off the ground. Yet a couple plays later, he comes in and throws a touchdown. It's like the kid he was relentless. And so to replace that you can't. There's no way you bring in anybody even close to that. But there's someone out there that's like, no, I'm going to show you, you're wrong, Jake. I'm going to come in here and show you what I can do. And that's the exciting part, is that someone's going to come fill that role and take a little pressure off of Sam. So, that's the fun thing. We'll see what happens.